So, recently I got done playing through the brand new Black Ops 6 campaign, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. If you are not a big Call of Duty person, maybe this video is not for you. But I am a very big Call of Duty person, and on this video I want to talk about just the campaign and the story, not the multiplayer, since this isn't really that kind of channel. This is a movie, sort of TV show, sort of story video game channel. So we'll talk about the story and the campaign for Black Ops 6, because I found this to be one of the more creative and interesting campaigns we have gotten from Call of Duty in years and years and years. Now, I've always been a big fan of the Call of Duty campaigns. A lot of these stories that we've gotten over the last decade from a bunch of these campaigns, mainly the original Modern Warfare games, the original 2 Black Ops games, they have an ability to tell these incredibly ambitious, large-scale stories with massive set pieces that feel almost like a Mission Impossible style movie with over-the-top villains, but characters that you can really just hook your teeth into. Over the past few years, I've been a little bit disappointed with the campaigns that they've been delivering, specifically the Modern Warfare 3 and even Modern Warfare 2 campaigns, which just felt a little watered down and cookie cutter. I was not a big fan of the Cold War campaign, the Vanguard campaign, so it's been quite some time since I personally have had a campaign that I have loved out of Call of Duty, and I'm happy to say that this is the first time that I've played through a new Call of Duty campaign and was pleasantly surprised that I was a little bit blown away. Now, this campaign does have its problems that I'll get into. I don't think it stands tall being as good as any of the original campaigns, but I definitely think it's one of the better, more ambitious campaigns we've gotten in years past. So in this campaign, you play as this faceless protagonist named Case, who is a part of this CIA gang with Woods and a bunch of other new characters, some familiar as well, like Russell Adler from Cold War. As you're taking on the Pantheon, this evil sort of subsection of the CIA that is developing this chemical weapon, and you have to go and stop them. It's a pretty simple setup with some great early missions that really get you hooked into the plot and the characters involved. This campaign from early on proves that it's more than just a normal Call of Duty campaign. You get your typical missions, a main opening mission that is very much a Call of Duty set-piece style thing, but you're quickly thrown into some special missions like this one that takes place at a Bill Clinton fundraiser, a presidential fundraiser, where you're presented with different options on how to tackle your mission, leaving this open-ended mission structure that felt very much akin to something like the original Black Ops 2, where you had a lot of options in that game on how you could tackle each mission and the story as a whole. This one never goes as deep as this, like your choices never actually affect the way the overall story goes, but there are definitely some interesting quest paths in this one Bill Clinton mission that leads to some replay value, and I really appreciated that. This mission structure was so different and such a breath of fresh air. And that's what really surprised me about this game, was how experimental a lot of this game felt like. A lot of these missions actually felt. There's another mission late in the game that definitely is similar to the Modern Warfare 3 thing, where they drop you into like an open world map and they give you all these different objectives, where unlike Modern Warfare 3, where it just felt like they were putting you on a Warzone map with lifeless enemies and objectives, this one felt a little bit more fleshed out and definitely more of an open experiment on what an open world Call of Duty mission could feel like. And I had a good time with it. Although I definitely still preferred all of the really tight, story-structured missions that are within this game, I still had a good time tackling these open objectives, and it felt very much like an open-world game, and I thought it was really well done. There's one mission in this game, though, and it's the one everybody's been talking about, and the one I'm sure you want to hear me talk about, and it's the one that is about Case and the crew going to this research facility where this chemical weapon by Pantheon was developed, and where Case was originally exposed to this weapon. And in this mission, Case gets exposed to this weapon again and starts having this sort of horror trip, and this mission very much is a horror mission. Maybe the first real one we've ever gotten in Call of Duty. And this one was terrifying. I'm somebody who's not the biggest fan of horror games. I just never mold well with them. I like watching other people play them. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a pussy. Maybe I'm not the best person to describe how scary a mission is, because the smallest horror video games freak me out. But yeah, I was freaked out throughout this whole playthrough. It felt very much like Resident Evil 4, which came out last year when I made my playthrough of that game. How the missions and all the structuring of that felt like. This, of course, is on a much smaller scale and very much Call of Duty combat, but the basic structure of this mission is you're given a map, and there's 4 different locations you have to go to collect 4 different keys, and in each one of these locations, there's an interesting boss fight, as well as some interesting horror elements that really make you feel isolated and really try to get under your skin. It caught me by surprise, because I was not expecting a mission like this to be in this game, so when it appeared, I was almost shocked, and it freaked me out. It worked. And the mission did a great job of changing the tone of this game to really make you feel sort of that unsettled vibe that you kind of got in the original Black Ops game, with the numbers and not being able to trust Mason, your own character, not being able to trust your own mind. It's a real strength of the Call of Duty series that you can actually tackle into this little horror, freaky element that sometimes the series has done well, mainly when it's zombies, and here it does it perfectly. This mission was like a 5 out of 5. It was brilliant. The game unfortunately does have some weaker missions later in the game. I don't know if it actually closes out its story completely well enough. Like, a lot of these Call of Duty campaigns are known for having this gigantic build-up to a massive finale and a big fight, and the last few games we've gotten, I felt like they did a bad job of getting to that finale, and this one is one of those things. I felt like the final mission the whole time I was playing it was actually the penultimate mission. It wasn't the final one, it was the second to last one, and then the game ended, and I felt like I was missing that one giant last piece that we didn't really get here. And the ending of the game felt very much like it was setting up some future, I don't know, season, some future DLC, or a future game that won't come out for 3 to 4 years, and that always sucks to me. When you're spending your entire game setting up the next game, or the next movie, or the next show, I hate that. But there are some good payoffs, some interesting questions that are left at the end of the game, and I do think some elements of the final mission, specifically when it gets back into that horror stuff, are extremely well done, and it almost makes me think, what could Call of Duty do, these developers do, if they developed a full, like, 20-hour horror game in the Call of Duty engine? Like, it could work. Will it happen? No, probably not. But overall, this campaign actually kind of blew me away just with how sort of innovative and inventive they were. It'd be very easy for them to do a typical Call of Duty campaign with these giant missions and massive set pieces, all of which are still in this game. But they decided to be a little bit more creative with some of these missions. With the Bill Clinton mission, where you have all these different choices. There's a casino robbery mission later in the game that is also extremely well done and gives you options. Just, there are so many different things like this within this game that make you feel like you have more freedom than you've ever had in Call of Duty games before. The combat is still the same, and like all of the armored enemies, it's a little bit annoying, but overall I had a really good time playing this campaign. I will give the Black Ops 6 campaign a 4 out of 5, and I recommend checking it out. I'm also having a decent time with the multiplayer, although at this point in my life, I just don't have the time to invest hundreds of hours into a multiplayer anymore, but it is fun. I enjoy it. Skill-based matchmaking still sucks, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out Black Ops 6. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more notifications. I'll see you in the next one.